Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. My name's Bill. My friends call me Sherbert. I have multiple sclerosis, and these are the ramblings of a man with relapse remitting multiple sclerosis. I also have trigeminal neuralgia, which is a horrific pain in the face. I just came back from Mayo. They put a needle into my brainstem through my cheek and put a balloon in and crushed the nerve. Right now, my ear is lots of pain, and all this is numb, and it's difficult to talk and properly, and I drool like a 90-year-old guy. But I was diagnosed 10 years ago with both MS and TM. Mine started with my lesion. I'm very lucky. It hit, if you put a crossbow on my head, it hit directly center, both front and back, left to right. And it took, optic neuritis, took my eyesight, my right eye, for 8 weeks. It also took most of my muscle in my eyelid. I couldn't lift my lid. I had to use this muscle. Anyway, and then 8 weeks later, some of my eyesight came back, and then it flopped over and took my left eye. The lesion hit center, and it kind of floated to one side, then floated to the other. That's a relapse. A relapse is an active lesion, basically. If you have a symptom for 24, 48 hours, it's a flare. A relapse is something that lasts more than 48 hours. And again, these are my understandings of multiple sclerosis. But if you pictured an electrical, y'all yell at me for not wearing clothes, so I put on my Captain Starbucks cape backwards. The electrical cord from your head to your toes, and that orange coating on the outside, and somebody's cut it with a knife in different spots and left holes in it. That's where our sparks fly through, and it affects us differently, but somewhat the same. But different symptoms show by where the holes have been eaten and which sparks are flying in which direction. Over time, a piece of gauze basically will grow over it, cheesecloth or gauze, and coat it so some of our symptoms become less pronounced. And then in heat, most of us, heat affects us because the gauze opens and the sparks have more area to shoot through. And then in cooler weather, we feel a little better, for some, not all. But if people talk about their flares, different issues for a day or two is one thing, but when it lasts longer than that, it's a relapse. And the best definition of a relapse I've ever heard is, if you pictured a road map, 4-lane highway from my head to my fingertips, and there's potholes in it. That's where MS has eaten, but the signal can still get around. Well, in a relapse, picture a big water balloon on top of all 4 lanes. And the signal gets to it, and it being a current, electrical, so to speak, it'll float across. And sometimes when it floats, it'll float left or right. So it takes us a little longer to do things like tell our hand to pick up, of course, a cup of coffee. And we can do it when it hits the water in the balloon. Sometimes we drop the cup, or we're not doing things great, or we just can't seem to get the signal to the right spot. Well, steroids, if you go in for a steroid treatment, an 8 to 12 week relapse could turn into 4 to 6 weeks. Some people say 2. I've never had a 2-week relapse, but all steroids does is drain the water out of the water balloon quicker and possibly more of it. So we have a chance of getting back all the ability that we had beforehand, or just a tiny bit of water. So a tiny bit difference of our symptoms stays with us. For me, my MS likes to take more and then give back. It took my eyesight and then gave back 90% of it. Like a transistor in the brain. It lights really, really bright, and then it'll dim. The lesion is active, and then it'll relax. It's still there, but it'll relax. So the advances that MS has made in the drug department, to me, is phenomenal. I'm one of the first 100 on Femagold back in the study, or Gilenya, and 4 years later they sent me a sheet and told me I'm on the same dose. I wasn't getting a sugar pill. I'm on the same dose I've been on, and it's working for me. Some of my friends it didn't work for, but there's now, 3 pill forms? There's IVs, there's the shots have improved. 10 years ago, the shots were no better, no worse than 50% effective. That's part of why I went on the study for the pill, because I wasn't pleased with the results of what the drugs were actually doing and getting. Some people use the healthy diet, and they go into relapse or they go into remission for years, and it works, and then it hits back and it hits strong. So you have to find what works for you and your mind and the way you see and look at things. But the thing I hate the most is hearing how MS is a monster. They all tell us, oh, you look good, you can't be sick. And what do we always say? It's in our mind, right? It's in our mind. Well, MS is not a monster in my mind. It's nothing but a bug. MS ain't nothing but a bug, and I'm going to squash that bug, and I'm going to have a wonderful life. The things I can't do, we adapt. If you want to survive with multiple sclerosis, it's adapting. It's allowing yourself time with things, but then it's adapting. I can't get down and clean the baseboards of this house, but I can sit in a chair, an office chair, and wheel around and do a lot of it. You adapt to what your symptoms are and how you do things. Right now I'm in this is all new pain. This is a new issue for me. So I'm in the pouting, feel sorry for myself stage. And so what? I'll get through this, and then I'll come to accept it. But if I can't just go right into accepting, this hurts. This is waking me up painful. This is getting me I'm getting mean. I'm getting impatient. So I just gotta accept. But first, I'm gonna kick and moan and have me a pity party. I have me a good old pity party, and then I'm gonna get up and move on. And that's what my relapse remitting MS is. If you're having a flare, and because it's more than 48 hours, call your neurologist and see, and they'll probably put you on some kind of a steroid treatment. You can't do too many of them, or it weakens your bones. But if it's just a flare for 24, 48 hours, I don't give it importance. I just don't give it importance. If it's a relapse, again, all they can do is treat symptoms, folks. But there's an MS society in every country. I don't know if it's because the last 10 years, though, I hear about MS on sitcoms and celebrities, and I pay attention to my local chapter, and they lobby the state, and they're national, and they're all over. But I'm a little cynical in the sense of right now they have a pill and different forms of slowing it down, and they're a lot more effective than they were 10, 20, 50 years ago. I think in my lifetime they're going to come out with a vaccine. There was 4 vaccines in process. I think there's 3 now. I think one ended up dropping. But I truly believe, because of the economic downfall, if they were to cure MS, would cripple countries. I think what they're going to do is they're going to come out with a vaccine, and I think it'll happen in my lifetime, or at least for sure in my kid's lifetime, where you get a shot, kind of like polio. They just they give you a shot so you don't get MS. That type of vaccine. It's not really a it. The vaccine really gives for us. It's they'll give stuff that our MS can eat instead of our bodies. Your immune system can eat that. Is basically, in layman's terms, and my understanding of how it is. But um, there's hope, guys. There's hope. There's always hope. And going back through and seeing the history and the advances in just the 10 years is phenomenal. Now, for my part, everybody I know knows I have MS, knows that I have trigeminal neuralgia. Um, 1 out of 20 MSers get TN. Um, you don't have to have MS to get TN, but 1 out of 20 of MSers get TN, and I wish that on no one. Oh my goodness, that is a horrific pain. But the there's always hope, guys, and it's just a bug. No longer let your mind, where our sickness is, tell you that it's some kind of a monster. It's nothing but a little bug, and we're going to squash the bug for the rest of our lives. And when we're too tired and when we don't have it in us, then we turn to these pages and we say, hey, I need a hand. I need a hand, and there's somebody there. So never give up. There's always hope. There's always new advances. And tell everybody just what you got. See y'all. See, I could kind of smile a little better. A little better.